Hey guys, it's me Chrissy and I'm here with Litmas Day 6, your story with literature, or like how you got into reading. And so how I got into it was I was really obsessed, I'd say when I was like 14, 15, with the Elizabethan era. Like I really got obsessed with like history, about like, well, mostly like the females in history, like Cleopatra and like Queen Elizabeth, but mostly I focused on Queen Elizabeth. And so I liked reading about her like online and stuff. And then I found this book, Conspiracy: The Lady Grace Mysteries by Grace Cavendish, made of honor to Queen Elizabeth, which is a historical fiction book. This is what got me into fiction, historical fiction. And the funny thing is, this is book 3. That's right, book 3 in this series. But now, see, like, that's how my bookstore works. Like, you don't see book 1 or 2. No, sometimes it's book 3 and it's just there. And then you just get book 4, 5, 6. Sometimes book 2 just shows up and nobody knows what's book 1. That's how it works here. And it's, yeah, well, but anyway, this made me fall in love with historical fiction. And I remember it took me the longest time to even get through like a page because I just wasn't used to sitting down and like calming down to just read. But this one, this one really sticks out of my mind and I'm never gonna get rid of it because it has so many good memories. And from then on, because it's by alphabet, so this is C, like me, and then I collected A, B, D, and so on. And so that was like my main focus. And then right around 16, 17, Twilight. This, I didn't find it on my own. One of my best friends turned into this like Twilighterian missionary. She came to my house like with like all 3 books, the first 3 anyway, and then she just dumped it on me. She's like, here. And then I like grabbed it and then I read it immediately, and that was the first book I was able to like devour instantly. I actually had an easier time reading it than this, but mostly that's because I already trained myself to read this. And I don't want to get Twilight because it's over there and I just came from outside and it's hot. But yeah, I know, right? You're probably like, Twilight, oh, that's so, well, you know what? Some people still love it. And I try not to judge the people who buy those little Wattpad stories. You know, the ones with the with the covers. Like sometimes people are like, is this Zayn Malik on the cover? But actually it's like a cartoon version of what looks like Zayn Malik on a cartoon cover, on like a Wattpad cover. Well, anyway, like I try not to judge because at least they're reading. But then, yeah, it's that. But then, like, you know, I kind of started out there too, so who am I to judge? But yeah, I know, like, you probably think, oh, like with some other people, they'd be like, oh, you started like as a child and just wanted to read. Like, no, not really. I was always surrounded by books though. Like, my grandparents had these big shelves of books, mostly like Christian books from like the 80s. And yeah, I was always surrounded by them, but I knew I couldn't read them because I knew that, well, one, I wouldn't be interested, and second of all, they didn't have pictures. So yeah, it just took me a while to really like find my love of reading. Also, we did not have very many good bookstores, like none. Maybe there was like one, but it was like kind of a what's it, more like it's like a supply store with books that just so happened to be there. But I mean, like, you know, if you really wanted books, you'd have to go out and look for them. And you're like, why don't you just go to the library? You know, we don't have a good library system here. We don't. Like, everything else is a reference book. And it just sucks that we don't have good libraries like, you know, people abroad. So that's why the cafe culture here is so big, because you know, they go to coffee shops to study, and people are kind of forced to buy books because we can't necessarily just borrow them from the library unless they're reference books or stuff like that. So yeah, I mean, that turned into a little rant. It's like a story about literature. It's supposed to be so magical and lovely, but that's my reality. Can't do anything about that. So yeah, and then from Twilight, it's just sort of snowballed into Cassandra Clare books, because the author of Twilight liked the Cassandra Clare books. And then from then on, I remember making my dad like buy me all three of the first like trilogy, and I didn't read any of them yet, just the synopsis on book 1. And I got all three because I knew that if I finished the first one and I liked it, I wouldn't have access to the second one until a couple months later. So I made him buy me all three. And then by the time I was done with the first one, I was like, did I just make my dad buy me a trilogy of incest? Well, I mean, if you've actually read the series, you'll know that that's not a spoiler, but I guess I just spoiled you, but like, whatever, everyone's read it by now. So, whatever. Yeah. That's it. It also helped that I have very bookish best friends. The Twilightarian missionary, and then my other best friend who reads a lot of chick lit. She's a doctor now. She likes to read like chick lit to relax. And another friend of mine who is a nurse, she loves science fiction, like anything science fiction, even science non-fiction. She's there, she's for it. And then my friend Red, who's an artist, she loves not just poetry, but like I would say classics, modern classics. And then I have my book BFF, who loves everything and anything Palahniuk, Ellis, Bret Easton Ellis. So yeah, the fact that I found a little community of best friends who read, it helped me like read as well. I liked their taste. Oh yeah, and my other best friend who loves fantasy. So, and then we ended up collecting an entire series together. So, and this video is much longer than I thought it was gonna be, but yeah. Not only did I discover reading, I discovered best friends who love to read, and through them I found their tastes, and I got to like sample like science fiction, fantasy, modern classics, and then I found Booktube, and I just couldn't shut up about it. I could tell my sister was already getting annoyed, but like I'm just like, oh my gosh, they love books, I love books. We don't have those books here. Like they come like a year later. But yeah, another rant. But it just like hyped me for books, and I don't know, I don't regret it at all. This is great. So yeah, I keep saying that, but I mean, that's it. That's my little story, and it's not even well said, but that's just what I remember, like how I do it. Like yeah, so that's my story with literature for Vlogmas, Litmas, day 6, yeah. Thank you guys for watching, thank you for sticking around, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!